The reason your calves are always tight is actually the same reason why you're such a good athlete. In this video, I want to go over what causes calf tightness and how to reduce that tightness when you're not playing without affecting your performance. What's up, guys? My name is Dr. Joe Ruskowski. I'm the owner and physical therapist here at Identity Physical Therapy in New Jersey. What I want to talk about today is the concept of why so many athletes talk about the fact that their calves always feel strained or always chronically tight. And you even see the incidence of Achilles injuries really on the rise, especially in sports like football and basketball. And the reason that this is because when we talk about force production or pushing through the ground to move forward, so think of your sprinting, your jumping, what we need to do is be able to push through the front of our foot, so the balls of our feet, to propel us forward in space. But when we do that, that's effectively a calf raise. So it's making your calf muscles work in what we call triple extension. Triple extension is hip extension, knee extension, and plantar flexion, so we call it plantar extension. Now, the double-edged sword is that powerful position makes you, as an athlete, so explosive, fast, and good at what you do, but if left unchecked and then you can't get out of that position, it's going to lead to this constant chronic tightness and potentially lead to strains, potentially pulls or tears down the road. So what I want to talk about today is how we, as physical therapists who specialize in working with athletes, how we train our athletes to be able to get out of that position when they're not playing. So what I want to do is run you through a sequence of exercises that I want you to do on your off days so that when you're not performing, it allows your body and your center of mass to shift back to your heels, which is going to shut your calf muscles off and let them recover and get blood flow to them. All right, so the first exercise is going to be a 90-90 hip lift. So what I want you to do is be on the ground, get by a wall. What we're going to do is we're going to lay flat on our back, get pretty close to the wall, and bend our knees so that our knees and our hips are at about 90 degrees. From here, we're going to tilt our pelvis backward because that's going to have us shift our center of mass back into the ground. From here, I want to be really heavy on the heels. We're going to slightly push into the wall with our heels and slightly pull down on the wall with our heels. And what we should feel is as we slowly lift up, just a little bit, I only want about 50% effort, you should feel your hamstrings, so the back of your thighs turn on. You should not be squeezing your butt. So I just want hamstrings. From here, you're going to also reach your hands up to the ceiling because that's going to let you shift your chest and your upper body also backward. From here, you're going to breathe in through your nose and take a long breath out through your mouth. Hold for 6 breaths and do that 3 times. As a pro tip, if you have tightness in both of your calves, then this exercise is the one for you. But if you're someone who only has tightness in one calf, then I'm going to show you a single leg alternative to do. If you don't, you could skip this exercise and move on to the next one. So what I want you to do is take the leg that has the calf tightness, and that foot is going to be up on the wall. The opposite leg is going to shoot up towards the ceiling with a little bit of bend in the knee. From here, it's the same process. You're going to shift your weight down into the ground, be heavy on your heels, slightly pull your heel down on the wall and lift up at about 50% effort. From here, you should feel that tightness in the hamstring, not the glute and absolutely not the calf. So don't squeeze your toes. From here, same thing, opposite hand reach, and we're going to get 6 breaths again. So the second exercise we're going to do is a pigeon variation. The purpose of this is to stretch one glute, but then on the other leg, focus on pushing into the wall with your heel to shift your weight back off of your toes. The reason we actually want to stretch your glute is because when you have this power production and you're constantly on your toes, it actually makes your hips tight as well. And you probably notice that if you're someone who has constantly tight calves, you probably notice your hips are also tight. So what we're going to do is kill 2 birds with 1 stone. We're going to get to the root cause. So we're going to stretch out the glutes and shift our weight back. So what you're going to do is you're going to drop onto your hands and knees, and then you're going to bring one leg up and cross your other leg behind that foot. Now what we want to do is have that heel into the wall and have this knee off of the ground. So you're going to push into the wall and get this knee straight. Now on the other hand, on this leg, you're going to be weight down on the front of your knee and drop down into a stretch. So right now I feel a stretch in this glute here, and at the same time I am pushing into the wall with my heel here. I'm only pushing at about 50% effort again. I don't want to like try as hard as I can because we're not trying to really produce force. We're already good at that. We're trying to do what we're not good at. So what I like to do is hold here for 20 seconds, relax, and then we can go ahead and switch sides. So back heel is into the wall. I'm going to go ahead and get a nice push through my heel while I stretch out this glute. And honestly, it takes a little bit of concentration. It's almost like you're trying to chew gum and walk at the same time, but just really focus there. And I like to repeat that 4 times each side, stretching out the glute and pushing through the heel to relieve some of that calf tightness. So the third exercise is going to be a downward dog. The reason I like this is, again, it lets us shoot our hips backward in space to shift our center of mass backwards, but you'll also get a nice stretch in your calves. So what you're going to do is get onto your hands and knees and then drop up into a downward dog so your hips are higher than your feet. And then what I want you to do is think about trying to push your heels down into the ground. And if they're tight, you're probably not going to be able to do it, but at least you're trying. From here, I want you to take deep breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. As you get more flexible and better at this, you want to focus on trying to crawl your hands more and more towards your toes. What I want you to do is hold this for 4 breaths, 4 times. So the fourth exercise is going to be an old school wall sit. But the difference on this one is that we're not going to go low. Remember, it's an off day, it's a recovery day. I'm not trying to burn you out. What I'm trying to do is get you to be able to shift your weight back more, put your weight on your heels, and take the pressure off of your calves. So what I want you to do is find a wall, go ahead and put your feet out way more than you normally would, like way more, okay? From here, you're only gonna drop about 25%. Then just like we did on the first exercise, I want you to tuck your hips and use your heels to push yourself back against the wall. Again, I'm not squeezing my abs, and I'm not trying as hard as I can. I'm just gently pushing through the ground and into the wall with my heels. From here, go ahead and hold that right there, and all I want you to do is hold it for about 90 seconds. So 1.5 minutes, 2 times. What you should feel is if you're really pushing through your heels and having the right foot contact, you should actually feel tension at the tops of your hamstrings right underneath your butt. You are going to feel your quads work, that's okay, but it's not the main focus of what we're trying to do. You're just holding here 90 seconds twice. All right, so the fifth and final one are going to be heel walks. The purpose of the heel walks is when we keep our weight on our heels, we're going to stretch out the calf, but we're also going to turn on the tibialis anterior muscle. So that's your front shin muscle. What that's going to do is help shift the balance. Instead of always being so dominant here, we're going to get that balance to shift out and to pull on that foot up a little bit more. So what we're going to do is we're going to be on our heels. You're not going to let your toes drop to the ground at all. You're going to walk forward. As much room as you have, you're walking forward, and then I want you to go backwards. Again, the purpose of going backwards is to shift our weight and our center of mass that way. What I recommend is going for a straight minute at a time, and you should really feel already the front of your shins starting to burn. So we're going to go for 1 minute straight, take a break. Same thing here. We'll go 2 to 3 sets depending on what you can tolerate. I want you to start with 2 sets just because I don't want you to get so fatigued in the shins that you can't perform the next day. But this burns, and it's going to be great for calf tightness. All right, guys, so to summarize, chronic calf tightness is actually just a side effect of being a really good athlete. Remember, that's because you're stuck in this triple extension pattern, always producing force. And so what our exercise sequence does is shift your weight back, take pressure off of your toes back onto your heels, which is gonna let your calf shut off. We need the calf to shut off and not always be bunched up, because when it releases, we get blood flow to the area and recovery happens. So ultimately, guys, if you found this helpful, please like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you at the next episode.